Hi, everybody. Thanks for being with me here today. I appreciate it. This is Tim Andersen, the Appraiser's Advocate, and we call this one A Few Thoughts on Sales and Financing Concessions. So, what does Fannie Mae's definition of market value say about sales and financing concessions? Let me read you the exact quote. Payment is made in terms of cash in U.S. dollars or in terms of financial arrangements comparable thereto. The price represents the normal consideration for the property sold unaffected by special or creative financing or sales concessions. It goes on to say, quote, the need to make negative dollar adjustments for sales or financing concessions and the amount of the adjustments to the comparable sales is not based on how typical the concession might be for a segment of the market area, unquote. So, despite what you've heard, cash equivalency adjustments are not a function of local markets or customs. If sales or financing concessions inflate a purchase price over its all-cash price, we appraisers are to adjust out that excess. As we continue with this, what does USPAP say about sales and financing concessions? This is USPAP Standard Rule 1-2-3. I've edited it a little bit for length. It says, quote, in developing a real property appraisal, an appraiser must identify the type and definition of value and ascertain whether the value is to be the most probable price in terms of cash or in terms of financial arrangements equivalent to cash or in other precisely defined terms, and if the opinion of value is to be based on non-market financing or financing with unusual conditions or incentives, identify the terms of such financing and any influences on value. In other words, USPAP says we appraisers must determine the cash or the cash equivalent value of any sale or purchase. We do this by identifying the terms and influences on market value of any such out-of-the-ordinary financing. To fail to do so calls into question the appraiser's relationship with the competency rule, Standard Rule 1-1A through C, Standard Rule 1-2C 1 through 4, Standard Rule 1-4, Standard Rule 2-1A through C, and Standard Rule 2-3. If the sale and purchase price included a boat, motor, and trailer to induce the buyer to buy, we adjust their contributory value out of the purchase price. These are not real estate, they're personalty. Real estate appraisers are not qualified to value personalty. The definition of market value does not allow for any non-realty components as part of the purchase price. The definition of market value does not allow for any non-realty components or any financial wizardry either. What about sales concessions? Do we adjust those out to arrive at an all-cash price? If sales concessions inflate the purchase price over what the all-cash price would have been, then we adjust them out of the sales price. This step gets us to the all-cash price. Now, are you still a little confused? That makes sense. There is a book by Mark Ratterman. It's called Residential Property Appraisal. I would suggest you get a copy of it. This is what Ratterman says. The value opinion is supposed to be cash equivalent. This means that the result of the appraisal analysis should be equal to what a cash buyer would pay rather than what would be paid by a buyer with a large mortgage and a seller who has to pay a lot of extra costs. The seller's expenses should be equal to what a cash sale would produce. Now, the appraiser is already overworked and underpaid. Why does the appraiser have to determine that a purchase and sale is or is not cash equivalent? As appraisers, our first challenge is to form a credible opinion of the market value of the real estate. Then our challenge is to communicate that opinion non-misleadingly to the client. We have misled the client if we communicate an opinion of the market value of the real estate subject to sales and financing concession. We have misled the client if we communicate an opinion of the market value of the real estate with a contributory value of the boat, motor, and trailer still there. We've misled the client if we communicate an opinion of anything other than the cash equivalent market value of the real estate. So, what does the definition of market value say about sales and financing concessions? Is there still some confusion? Here it is. Market value does not allow for sales and financing components, so we take them out. That's the truth. That's the long and the short of it. Take out the sales and the financing concessions. Still have questions? Contact me. Again, I'm Tim Andersen, the Appraiser's Advocate. You can get in touch with me at tim@theappraisersadvocate.com. It will be a pleasure to hear from you. It will be an honor to work with you. My best to you and your family. Thank you so much. And we're clear. Oh, and by the way, are your professional fees high enough?